Alright, next let's check out the tarantula. And the tarantula lives over here behind the door, right up above the bearded dragon on the top shelf, in this little pink top plastic cage. And she lives up there because she benefits from getting heat that comes up from the bearded dragon's cage. So you can take off the top, and you don't have to be afraid of her. She's not going to run over and bite you or anything, but the first thing you'll want to check is her water. And no matter how clean the water looks, go ahead and dump it out and give the water dish a good scrubbing to get that slimy stuff off the bottom, the cyanobacteria that starts to grow on the bottom of any water dish after it's out for a while. Then you can put it back in. It doesn't matter if you spill a little bit of it, just helps to moisten or humidify our cage a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that. The next thing you want to do is look for any food items that still might be in the cage. And if you need to, you can move her. And you may have heard that they have hairs on their abdomen that they can release into the air, and those hairs will get into your skin, they'll get into your eyes. That's the most important thing to avoid. If they get into your eyes, I guess they can really irritate, and you might end up at the emergency room even. And some people are allergic to them, so that if they get them in their skin, they really itch. So you want to avoid that. Normally what we give her as food are crickets. It's one of the only reasons we keep crickets, really, is for the tarantula. Unfortunately, we're out of crickets at the moment. But typically, you would just pick out one of the largest crickets that we have and throw it in there with the tarantula. If we're ever out of insects, you can always get into the dubia cockroaches here that are kept up here next to the hermit crabs. And there are a variety of different sizes of cockroaches in here. And you'll want to choose one that's somewhat appropriate. In other words, in this case, kind of cricket size. And this one's about cricket size, maybe a little bit bigger, but that's okay. That'll give her a good meal. And put the roaches back where they belong. And then just go ahead and throw this into her cage. What I like to do is throw it pretty much right in front of her and see if she'll grab it right away. But she almost never does. And it looks like she's going to save it for later. So then you can just go ahead and cover her back up and put her back up on top of the shelf. And what I usually do is I leave it hanging over. I leave the water hanging over the edge of the shelf. Because this is the cool end of the cage, and it stays cooler if it's not on the shelf, because the shelf does pretty much heat up from the heat coming up from the bearded dragon's cage. And I know it looks like it might fall off or something, but it's not. It's perfectly fine like that. And that's pretty much it for the tarantula.